Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany, for those of you guys who don't know, and today's message is actually going to be titled, As Soon as You Get Into Purpose, You Will Marry. Okay, I don't know if it's going to say all them words, but that's what this message is actually about. So before I get into the message, the dream, the interpretation, and instructions, if this is your word, first, let me start by making a small announcement about the ebook and the digital products that were said to be released last week. The ebook is currently going through editing, so my ebook will be released this week, as well as some other products, inexpensive products for those of you guys who wish to sow into this channel, who wish to support this channel. And I'm going to reinvest right back into this channel to get the things that I need to, get me like a desk so that we can do a Bible study and all of these things. So make sure those of you guys who want to support the channels, make sure you pick up one of those products, okay? So this message is actually coming from a dream that I had, y'all. And initially, when I had this dream, I was thinking like, y'all know how when something don't really go your way, especially when God is trying to get you a message through a dream, you be like, devil, right? The first thing you want to do is you want to blame the devil. So, but I knew that there was another meaning to this dream, right? And I started spending time with God, and the Lord led me to the revelation of this dream. And so I'm going to get into the dream so you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this, right? So in this dream, there was a woman, and she was at a party, right? Now she was in the hallway. Okay, this is where she was at. She was in the hallway. She was walking up and down the hallway. She had walked down this hallway, right, like 3 times. And in the room that was right next to this hallway, there was people that were partying. And the Lord had me to focus in on the man that was actually partying. And when I say they was having a good time, they was having a good time. Like, he was laughing so hard. He was like, that's how he was laughing, right? And I'm sorry if that got loud, but that's really how dramatic it was. He was really enjoying himself and having a good time. And I'm sorry if I'm talking fast, y'all, but I'm really excited about this word, right? Because it did end in a happy ending, right? But there is a message to this word. There's a revelation to this dream. So he began to laugh hysterically, like, they toast their drinks, and he's in there with his friends, he's partying, and the woman is in the hallway. So when he goes to the hallway, the woman kind of stops as if she wanted to be noticed, but he walked right past the woman, didn't even notice her. He went to the door. He was signaling for more friends to come into this party space where they were. And so the friends come in, so the woman stopped, realized that he didn't notice her, and then she was getting ready to leave. Like, you can tell she felt some type of way. She was getting ready to leave. Her whole demeanor changed. And so that was pretty much the end of the dream. And for it to end like that, I was like, who getting ignored? Like, when I woke up, I'm like, who being ignored? Okay, because I know how things can seem or whatever. But then the Lord began to minister to me that dream was much more about the woman and really didn't have anything to do with the man. And when I thought about the dream, I was like, the man was really just doing what it is that he do, right? He was having a good time. He was hanging out with his friends, and the woman was in the hallway. Now, the hallway symbolized being close to the promise, right? That's a good thing, because she was in the hallway, but not being noticed because it's not time for her to be noticed. She was invisible. So this message, if this is your message right now, you're invisible. And not only can your person not see you, no one can see you until you get into purpose. So if the enemy has been after your purpose, has been weighing you down with all sorts of things, and you have put down something that the Lord has instructed you to work on, you need to pick it back up so that you don't fall out of alignment, okay? But I'm going to get back to that. And so, the woman was in the hallway, and so the man did not notice her initially, right? He walked right past her, didn't notice her. He was doing whatever it was he had to do. But the Lord had me to focus on the woman and what the woman was doing. And she wasn't doing anything. She was idle. She was walking up and down the hall trying to be noticed. And I know some of you guys have already picked up in the spirit where I'm going with this word. And so, I was like, okay, I can kind of see that. And the Lord was saying, until she gets into purpose, they will not meet. There will not be a marriage until she gets into purpose. That's how serious that your purpose is right now. So if the Lord has given you a vision, he has given you a mission, a ministry, purpose, some sort of idea, whatever it is that the Lord has you working on. And if you have put it down, this is very vital to stay in alignment with the promise. Okay. Because the Lord is saying, for who this message is for, your marriage is directly attached to your purpose. And I was kind of trying to figure out like what exactly that means, right? And that means that God has given this man specific instructions about his wife. He can't even see you till you get into purpose. He cannot even see you. No one can see you till you get into purpose. So if you want to be nice about it, you can say that you're being veiled right now, and there will be a time of unveiling, but you're invisible. That's what I heard the Spirit of the Lord say, that you're invisible until you get into purpose. And so if the Lord has been calling you guys to a 3-day fast, a Esther fast, a 14-day fast, a Daniel fast, fasting for clarity, revelation, specific instructions, and all of these things, please do so. A lot of you guys need to at least do an Esther fast if you know that you're in your marriage season, okay? And if you know that the enemy is attacking you, to break those yokes. And so the next thing that I wanted to talk about, the enemy attacking your purpose, because you're in the promised land. Because this is why the attacks have been so hard, because as soon as you get into purpose, this thing is going to kick off, where you meet this person, you start dating this person, you marry this person. Another thing that the Lord was revealing to me in the spirit is the 2x2 word came to me again. And I saw the people running fast with road running legs again, right? And I did a word like this some time ago, that the Lord was sending people out 2x2. And the divine purpose of the Lord for these relationships had more so to do with the Lord, for glorifying the Lord, than they did for us, for the purpose of these relationships. And he reminded me of the story of Esther, and how there was, at some time, there was a point to where the king's eyes wasn't open to who his person was. He was going in another direction, right? So Esther used that time to prepare herself. And then there was a time where she was unveiled. There was a time where she was crowned. And so it is today, right? For who this message is for, there will be a time where you're unveiled and you're crowned, but it is attached to your purpose. And so that relationship had much more to do with a divine purpose than it did about love and all of these things. That was a divine orchestrated relationship. That was a kingdom marriage, the best example that we have, okay? Because this was to edify her people, right? This was to save the Jews from being annihilated. This was for the king to overturn a ruling that he had already did. Well, he couldn't overturn it, but what he did was gave them the right to attack what was attacking them, to save the Jews, okay? This was to save, because if it wouldn't have been, if it wouldn't have been for Queen Esther and her uncle Mordecai getting that inside information that he had enemies in his camp, he could have been annihilated. Okay, so the Lord knows the end from the beginning. So he knows where he wants these relationships to go, just like it was with Esther and King Xerxes. Okay, he knew the purpose for those relationships. He knew that the Jews would face that trial with Haman, that he knew that they would succumb to that. So he knew had to arise. Esther had to arise for a time such as that. And this was a woman who knew how to get in the presence of the Lord. And this was just what the king needed. Okay. And she was beautiful and all that. She turned out to be the whole package. But there was a time where she was veiled. Okay. There was a time where she was veiled. There was a time where her beauty was concealed. There was a time where the king was going in another direction. There was a time where she was in the hallway, where she was close to the promise, but it wasn't the divine time for God to reveal her just yet. Right. And if I get tongue-tied, that's because I'm excited. But the Lord is saying, this is why the attacks have been so hard. This is why, and this is not for somebody who's been sitting idle and you just not doing anything anyway. This is for somebody who is trying. You are trying to start the business. You are trying to go in the direction that the Lord is calling you to go. You are trying to see to the vision. You are trying to see to the ministry. You are actually getting up and doing the work. And the enemy is, in fact, attacking you, okay? Is giving you stumbling blocks, is making this a little bit harder than it should be, right? And all of these things, and maybe even forced you to put down something that the Lord has led you in. And that's going to look different for everybody, right? But the enemy has forced you to put down something that is directly attached to you being aligned with your spouse, okay? He can't even see you till you get into purpose for who this message is for. Okay, so the Lord is saying, get rest, get rest, maybe get rest too, okay? But the Lord is saying, get dressed, wash up, right? Even if you're going through a fast, get up, wash your face, put on your clothes, get your body, together, get your health together, get your skin together, your hair, your mindset, upgrade your wardrobe so he can see that you're a kingdom woman, okay? Whatever it is that the Lord is asking you to do, still pray and cover for your spouse, still pray and cover your home, and do what it is that you can do, because God is going to do the rest, okay? Still praise God in the hallway, okay? Because some of you guys are that close to the promise, okay? And it goes from the marriage promise, it's connected to your purpose, it's connected to your praise. So your purpose is, why am I here? What am I passionate about? For those of you guys who don't know, it's the easiest thing that you do with the least amount of effort. That's the oil for your lamp in this season, okay? And the Lord is saying, do not play with this word. This is an end-time marriage word. This is a what's to come. I need these two people to be together for his purpose word. This is a glorifying the kingdom of God type of word, okay? And the Lord was showing me 2 by 2, they shall go out 2 by 2. And I was reminded of that word that I did a while ago where they were going out 2 by 2. Now, also another confirmation, if you have been seeing 4, 4, 4 at a time, and now you're seeing 2 by 2, 2, 2, 2, at this time, because 444 was my numbers for being called, being chosen, transformation, change, and all of those things. And I would always pay attention to what's going on around me as I was constantly seeing these numbers for the longest time. And then being shifted to a position of 222, where everything is double, divine connections, divine alignment and stuff like that. So if you have been seeing 444 to 222 and you know that you're close, this is a word that you need to pray and take back to God, okay? And so the Lord is trying to turn God's daughter's heart back to him. Some of you guys need to release the promise altogether. I see it in the comments and I see certain things, and it's just like, give your heart back to God. Release his son back to him. Because a lot of you guys, God does want you to have the promise, but you have sat here and let the enemy let you idolize the promise and put the promise before God, but put the promise before the promise keeper. Okay. And some of you guys need to submit, go back and repent. Submit that promise back to God and seek God's face for alignment. How do you need to be aligned in this season so that the promises can actually come to pass? Okay. But you're in the hallway. So what are you doing in the hallway? And I hope you guys are praising God. I hope you're walking with the Lord. I hope you're praying and seeking the Lord, seeking divine instructions, okay? Instead of pacing, checking, lurking, being idle, weary, upset, sad, impatient, all of these things, right? All of the fruits that are not of God. Many of you need to just turn your heart back, because the enemy is using that idolizing process as a distraction. The enemy is using that worry as a distraction. The enemy is attacking your purpose. And some of you guys have put the purpose down altogether. Y'all can just put it down, okay? Whatever it was that God had you working on, and you're falling out of alignment. So this is a warning that whatever it is that God has called you to do, whether it's to ministry, business, to be a leader, to go into some sort of entrepreneur endeavor, to go higher, to go back to school, to go take a trade. I don't know what it is that God is asking you guys to do, but I do know for who this message is for. And it's going to be a confirmation in your spirit that whatever it is that the Lord is leading you to do is directly attached to your purpose. Okay. Directly attached to your purpose. So seek God for revelation, guidance, peace, further instructions, and purpose. Because some of you guys are in purpose and maybe you're going through some hiccups. Some of you guys are already doing the work. You in the hallway, and you in the hallway in a good way, right? Because you're right next to that promise, and God is getting ready to unveil you. And God is getting ready to make you visible, okay? Because right now you might be invisible, again, to everyone. And it's so important that you do what it is that the Lord is directing you to do in this season. Because the Lord, he gives these kings certain instructions to look for in a wife. There are certain things that they are looking for in a wife, and you have to be ready to show up as her, because you are her. Okay. So you have to be in alignment with God, because if God said it, it has to come to pass. It cannot fall to the ground. Okay. So make sure you guys are in divine alignment. This message was so much about the woman and not really even about the man. That man was having a good time. And again, because she was in the vicinity, this might be somebody you know. This might be somebody that you're getting ready to meet. I'm not really sure. You have to seek God for your further instructions, but I do know that she was at the point of giving up. She wanted to leave. She just, her whole demeanor changed. She just looked so different. Like she just wanted to leave. Like she was discouraged. She wanted to give up. That's just the enemy. That's just the enemy. But the Lord, I'm so glad that the Lord led me to think about what it was the woman was doing while she was in the hallway, while she was walking back and forth, while she was pacing. What was she? She wasn't doing anything. She wasn't doing anything, and the enemy was using that. So I hope this message makes sense for who it needs to go out to, for whoever it needs to edify and comfort. Please seek the Lord, because don't even play with a word like this, because as soon as you get into purpose, you will meet your person, and you guys will meet and court quickly, and you guys will marry quickly, because at this time, in these times, the kings know what they want. And God has set it up for it to work like this. God has ordained it for it to move supersedingly fast. This is what the Lord wants in this hour, okay? This is not merely of us. This is what the Lord wants. And there's so many people, men and women alike, who are out here, you know, and they tired of dealing with what they've been dealing with, and they want their person. And as soon as they realize that it's their person, they're going to be ready to lock it down. They're going to be ready to get married, okay? They're not coming confused. They're coming with instructions, right? They're coming with what the Lord has already told them their wife would be like, okay? And vice versa. So make sure you guys are taking these messages back to God, asking him how can you get prepared in this season, asking what it is that he wants you to do, getting your unique instructions from the Lord of what it is that he wants you to do, so that you're in alignment with what it is that God has for you, okay? And so that's pretty much the message, y'all. Do not be idle in this time. If you have stopped doing something, stop working on something, stop working towards something, stop looking forward towards something, get back in alignment with God to see, how do you pick back up? How do you start over? How do you get back in the game? How do you start showing up as your best self? Because this is going to be very important in this season. And the way you show up and the way you present and the type of person that you are, and making sure you're in purpose and making sure you're about something, you stand for something. God is raising up leaders, making sure if the Lord has told you to lead, go lead. Go do what it is that God has showed you. If God has told you to go to school, go to school. If God has showed you to start a cooking business, a cooking class, start, you know, whatever it is that the Lord has been ministering to you for you to get in the race and start doing, that's where you need to be, and not doing nothing else. That's exactly where you need to be. And maybe a lot of you guys need to be submitting that promise back to God. Submitting it back to God, okay? So what are you doing while you're in the hallway, okay? Because a lot of you guys are getting ready to meet. I don't know what you've been doing. A lot of you guys who are already in purpose, you're getting ready to meet your person. Okay, you're in the hallway. And so the Lord is getting ready to unveil you. And so then you will be visible. But right now you're invisible. And that's what thus said the Lord. This purpose is attached to your marriage. So I hope it makes sense for who it's for. Like I said, pray about the word. And until the next word, y'all, bye.